What's going on, guys? It's Smudger here. Let's talk all things Sten Gold Camo. The build you see on screen is roughly what I was using for the majority of this grind, with the exception of the Longshots, where I pretty much decked out for full firepower with a 2.5 times sight on it, and then went into hardcore and had a little cry. But aside from that, it's pretty much what you're going to be using in Das House, or if shipment is out when you're watching this, it's not currently out as of time of filming, then that's going to be great for it as well. It's a really good little gun. I highly recommend it. I also highly recommend running something like lightweight or double time with it, just to give yourself that extra bit of mobility. Without further ado, let's jump into the actual camo challenges. So first off, of course, we do have 400 eliminations. You're not going to struggle with these. You're going to complete these as you do other things. And then you have 100 headshots. Again, super easy. Honestly, didn't have any issues with it. But if you are having issues with it, don't stress about it, because the very last camo challenge is going to require you to get them anyway. So you don't need to stress about it too much. They'll come naturally. Again, if you're playing Das House, the chances are you'll catch people in their face, whether you mean to or not, whether you're aiming there or not. It's so chaotic, especially if you get a nice rare lobby that isn't full of shotguns either side. And then we have 50 multi-kills. Again, super easy in Das House. There's so much going on that you should be able to piece pretty easily. Otherwise, hardcore's a great option. This thing is pretty weak at range, but if you get a small hardcore map, you could easily piece. But Das House or shipment would be my preference. And then we have 5 kills without dying 30 times. Bit trickier. Das House might not be the best if you are finding yourself spawn trapped a lot. If you're going in with a 6-man team, by all means, this might be the perfect time. But if you are not getting those good lobbies, then by all means try the Trifecta maps playlist, which has Dome and the one with the god-awful barn on it as well. Otherwise, just any normal core game mode, so Domination's pretty good, where you can play a bit slower, sit back, pick your kills, pick your timings. You're going to have to be fairly aggressive to get them in core, but you're not going to have to rush everything and get hit by 16,000 different grenades and 3 different shotguns at any given time. And then we have 100 long shots. And I did these on stream. I got very angry doing them. This thing is pure pain to do. And I'd highly recommend not doing it until you've unlocked the burst fire barrel, which you have to use for one of the later challenges anyway. The burst fire barrel is going to make this so much easier. You can single fire it like a FAL almost. I was doing that for a little while until I put the burst fire attachment on, at which point it becomes manageable. I wouldn't call it fun, I wouldn't call it enjoyable, but it becomes manageable with the burst fire attachment on it. I truly believe that's the key to unlocking this, and at that point you're going to want to go into hardcore. Hardcore Domination's pretty good for this, and you're going to just sit on head glitches all game until you get your long shots done. You're going to have to grind them out, but with that burst fire attachment, especially if you can mount on something where you're sat, it's going to be far easier than without it. And then we have 100 close range kills. I did about 30 of these point blanks before they got changed, and let me tell you, once they got changed, I flew through them. Pretty much every kill I got in Das House was a close range kill with this. You will have no issues doing this if you're in Das House. The range seems to be like 6-7 meters for it to be a close range kill. So highly recommend Das House or shipment, of course, and just go to town. You'll rack these up without even thinking about it. And then we have 100 hipfire kills. Again, Das House can be pretty good for it. I'd recommend putting on the 32 round mag if you're going to solely focus on hipfire kills, as it were. The 20 mag, which is what I ran most of the time, is very good for damage, but hipfire is very unforgiving in this gun and it's just a bit crap. So definitely put the 32 round mag, give yourself a bit of wiggle room if you miss the first 10 shots or so you're not halfway through your clip. And these should come, pretty easily. You may have to focus on them here and there. If you're in hardcore at any point, don't be afraid to hipfire, because it'll only take a couple of bullets at a closer range. But Das House, shipment, those sort of maps for hip firing, you may have to play a little bit scummy. You would have seen me in some of the footage perhaps playing a little bit scummy or trying to get headshots maybe. But it is what it is. It's not a hard challenge, it's just a pain in the ass. And then we have 100 ADS kills with the 248mm burst barrel, the 20 round fast mags, and the Gawain custom stock. So I paired this up with the long shots and did them both at the same time. Super easy because obviously you're going to be aiming down sights to get your long shots, and you get to use the burst barrel to get your long shots. Makes it far easier. Combine them both, rattled through them. It took me about 2 hours, maybe just over, to get them both done, purely because the long shots were such a grind. But this one, pretty easy, shouldn't have any issues with it. And then you have 100 kills while moving with the 32 round mags, the para stock, and the steady proficiency equipped. Super easy as well. The threshold for movement literally seems to be if you're not mounted and you're not stood entirely still, like not touching your left stick at all, then it will probably count. If you play Das Haus, most of your kills will count. Unless you are sat trying to do your long shots mounted up somewhere, you shouldn't have any real issues doing this. I kind of did them without even thinking about it while I was doing my close range and some of my hip fires. And then to end it, we do have 100 kills with the 348mm B13S barrel, the 9mm 20 round mags and steady proficiency equipped, and you're going to need to get 100 headshots. So again, if you've got a few headshots waiting from the first set of headshot challenges, don't worry, you're going to pick them up in here. Das Haus is great for this. If you can mount up on that little wooden room near those corridors of death, you can catch a lot of people just running around those tires and pop them in the head. It's pretty easy to do. You probably will get naded off it after, say, 3 to 7 kills, but it is pretty consistent headshots from that angle. I had very few issues doing this. I was wrestling through kind of anywhere between 10 and 20 headshots a match. I think I ended up doing it something stupid like 7 matches. Really not that difficult. If you are struggling with headshots though, you could go into hardcore. With this gun, would I recommend it? Usually you go into hardcore, mount up and pop people at distance. Not so much with this. Hardcore is definitely easier to get headshots with though, if you're fairly comfortable with the general premise of aiming, which sounds weird, but a lot of people aren't. If you're struggling to get consistent headshots in core, you can try hardcore and try just literally aiming higher. In hardcore, it's always better to aim over their head and try and drag your aim down than vice versa. If you're in core, aim at their neck and drag up. Other than that, all the similar rules apply. If you see an AFK player, shoot them in the head. If you see a player not paying attention, shoot them in the head. And go right up to them and shoot them in the head so you get that close range kill as well. Or even hip fire and shoot them in the head. You know, there's loads of ways you can combine it. Take advantage of those players that aren't paying attention. But that is the Sten Gold. A fun little gun. Awful to get gold purely because of the long shots, but with that being said, it is done and dusted. If you did enjoy the guide, found something useful in it, let me know in the comments down below, or just leave a like so I can gauge the response. If you want to see other gold gun guides, I have a playlist, or you can subscribe to catch them as they come out every day. And as always, I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.